everybody. I'm Besa, and I would love to welcome you all to the first episode of the Rewind with Besa on Converge Media in this good old 2021. So here's the thing. I wanted to do this show a little bit differently this year. I didn't want it to just be all about entertainment, news, gossip, and all that stuff. I really wanted to be able to have discussions with you guys that I typically have with my friends that some people might think are taboo, but I think that they're conversations that need to be had. So here's how the show is going to go. First part, we have the rewind, which is where we're going to go over some, entertainment news that went down during the week. I will have a guest host. We'll bring her in a second. And then once we get through all of our entertainment news, we will have our panel, which is literally titled, Will Sex Work Be Normalized in 2021? So without further ado, Carlos, can you bring in my girl, Alisha?
Hey,
Oh, hey, how are you doing, boo?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited. This is the first show of the year. It's live, so you guys are able to come in and chit chat with us. Like I see Emily is here. We have Dora here. It's a nice little vibe already, and I'm feeling it. So, first and foremost, we ended up losing a legend, I want to say like 2 years ago. So, RIP to Cicely Tyson. I know you had some things that you wanted to talk about with that, Alicia.
Yes, Cicely Tyson passed away a few days ago, and she passed away at 96 and had over a 70-year career. So she did exactly what was intended of her. If you are not familiar with Miss Cicely, well, I'm gonna get you started. Okay, so she was an honorary Oscar winner. She got a Tony Award for the trip to Bountiful in 2013. President Obama gave her a Presidential Medal of Freedom, and that's one of the highest awards that you can get. And unfortunately, 2 days ago, her manager, Larry Thompson, confirmed the news. However, there's no cause of death right now, but just sending prayers to the family and all of her amazing fans and just kind of, living through her legacy. And I would recommend watching some of her movies, specifically The Help, if you want to honor her in any way.
Heck yeah. And honestly, we are going to honor her right now. We have a little video of Cicely Tyson giving some praise to women. Could you get that going, Carlos?
Hey, Queen. Girl, you've done it again. Constantly raising the bar for all of us and doing it flawlessly. When you've come to learn that all that I have learned, one thing remains the same, and that is being true to yourself is the key. Knowing your roots and where you come from is also key. Keep that with you always. And always remain graceful even when you fall. There's a sweet justice in knowing that the path you are on was designed for you and you alone. Listen to me. When I say the best is yet to come, keep your chin up high.
No, that's right. I wanted to share something
Okay.
positive because I feel like sometimes when people pass away, it's always like grim and grum. And if you ask me, Cicely is definitely a woman who lived beyond what she thought she would do. And she even said that
Mhm.
in an interview with, I want to say, Gail King. So next topic, rapper Little Baby. Okay, I think this is really, really cool because in a time where everybody is really spending a lot of money, at least like rappers anyways, they're spending a lot of money on cars and jewelry. He decided that he actually wants to open up a restaurant. So check this out. In a recent interview with Double XL, when they asked him if he plans on doing anything outside of the hip hop industry, he said, actually, I have a new restaurant I'm going to open up in Atlanta. He also said it was supposed to be open this month, but he plans to add some stages, so it'll probably be open in February or March. And then in terms of food, they want to sell lamb chops, lobster, rice, other things of that nature. And I feel like it's going to be a nice little performance center. I'm here for it.
I'm ready to go. So just let me know when I can go to Atlanta.
No, period. And I've honestly never been to Atlanta. So it would be a. Don't judge me. We're just now getting started over here. Do not judge me. But seriously, no, I've never been to Atlanta, and so I just wanted to shout him out for that because
Mhm.
he's definitely recently had some allegations of paying women for sex, which is part of today's conversation. But I wanted to give him something positive. You have a topic about Apple Watches.
Yes, I want to see how people are feeling about this, but Apple Watch is launching their Black Unity collection, which they're pretty much designing this to acknowledge Black history and the culture. As you can see, the band will have truth, power, and solidarity on it, but it is designed to look like the Pan African flag with the colors. The band is supposed to be $49, and the watch ranges between the 300 to 400 range. And the money that they're going to be donating with these watches will be going to organizations such as the Black Lives Matter Support Fund, the International Institute for Race and Equity and Human Rights, and that's just naming a few. Besides that, they're also going to be doing editorial collections featuring Black creators on their platforms, and also doing a collaboration with Eat Okra to allow customers to be able to find more Black-owned restaurants. So I think it's great. However, a lot of people are saying that it's a little weird that they're starting to do this just for this month and not always.
You
So,
know what's funny? I had that in my notes for the exact same reason because my thing is, as great as I think it is that people are starting to, support Black lives, I just kind of feel like, would you have done this if all of that outrage did not go on last year? Would you have done this if we didn't have all these protests going on right now? Like, is this just for you to get some brownie points, or what is really going on here?
right. I need to know concrete evidence that you are sending these money to these organizations, because if you're just going to hold the money for yourself and not really support us, then I don't want this watch. Simple.
Period. And honestly, I feel like sometimes when they say they're going to donate, they donate such a small portion that
Right.
it makes it to where it's like, okay, so you're really just capitalizing off of this situation at that point.
Right. And there's no solidified amount that they're going to be giving. So that's also my issue with this whole thing. But if you want the watch, I'm not going to judge you. Maybe a little bit, but
Maybe a little bit. So, you guys, in TI news, so the rapper recently played I want to say a character called Cutthroat. So I'm gonna do something different. I never did a screen share for you guys, so we're gonna do a quick screen share so you guys can see what Twitter had to say about this. Here's the real problem of the matter. The problem is that the character that he played has vitiligo, and I feel like this situation. You're able to see this, right, Alisha?
yes.
Okay, boom. So my issue with this, and let me scroll down to it, are you really trying to tell me that you could not find an actual actor with vitiligo to play this rather than painting him? It kind of gives me that whole Nina Simone feeling where I want to say Zoe Saldana ended up playing Nina
Mm-hmm.
Simone, and then they had to paint her skin and give her an afro. And it's like there's so many African American women that she could have just did that. So why would you give this to Ti, where you have to literally paint his face rather than just giving it to someone that actually has vitiligo and is an actor?
Right. I feel like the issue that people are having now is that, but it's also the movie's been out for a while, and it's just now reaching this level where people are starting to question it. So a lot of people are just like, well, why are we talking about this now when the movie came out a while ago? But I do agree. I wish that an actress or an actor in this instance with vitiligo or with any of the conditions that were in the movie would be featured, because it's only right.
I agree. We have a really spicy Ti topic coming up because he has some accusations, and I accidentally skipped a commercial. So look, we're gonna go to a quick commercial break. All right, we are back. In case you did not know, you are tuned in to the first episode of the year of the Rewind with Besa. I am co-hosted by my girl Alisha, who's all the
Hey.
way in DC, by the way.
You know.
What I love about this whole like pandemic is that it's made it to where we're able to come together in ways that we typically wouldn't. And so typically if I were to
Right.
do a show like this and you're all the way over there, we wouldn't even have this option. But look,
At
I
all.
we just got done talking about Ti playing a character with Vinilago. And he has some new accusations going on. You want to tell us a little bit about that, Alicia?
Well, all right, let's get to it. So, if you have not been hearing about these allegations between Tiny and T.I., I'm going to break it down a little bit for you. So, Sabrina Peterson, who is a very close friend with Tiny, posted on her story and social media about the fact that allegedly T.I. held a gun to her head and forced her to do sexual actions under the influence. And it doesn't just stop there. Unfortunately, multiple women have come forward with their stories about T.I. and Tiny, saying that there's been instances of them being drugged with Molly and other substances. And clearly, Tiny was not having it. So she had a rebuttal. And they recently came out last night with a statement to Complex saying pretty much that they want to go on record saying that they deny all these allegations against them, and that Sabrina's actually been a handful and issue for the past decade. However, it's also been brought to the public's attention that some of the females may allegedly be faking their stories. So it's a lot going on. T.I. and Tiny just need to sit down. But they just got a lot of going on. Just sit down and live in your beautiful mansion and just chill. You don't even have to do anything ever again.
No.
I don't know.
Hold on. I think my computer froze. 1 second. Of course it did. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, well, my computer froze real quick. Carlos, can you run us into another cute little commercial while I fix this? That's how you know we're live. I was sitting here minding my own business, trying to do a screen share, and my computer said, no, we're just not going to be non-responsive, okay? This is what's going to happen, girl. But you were talking about some of the allegations, and people are saying that some of them are not real. And I actually noticed, and this is what I found interesting about the whole situation. Tiny's best friend Shekinah came out and almost confirmed a lot of the things that Sabrina was saying in an Instagram live. She basically came on live and was saying, Sabrina is upset. She wants to actually date Tiny. She said that T.I. and Tiny used to actually pay her to go out and find different girls. So, Carlos, you want to pop up some of those texts that she was talking about? Next slide. There we go. So these are the texts that Alisha was talking about, and people are starting to say that some of them are fake. And I was watching, I want to say, Armand Wiggins' show this morning, and he said some of the women have actually come out saying that they purposely sent her these things just to see if she would post them.
See, my issue is when there's a serious situation like this, there's no time for joking. We don't need to be joking about these allegations. If it didn't happen to you, let's just not talk about it.
No, period. And honestly, from what I hear, it sounds like it's a situation of some friends that may have fallen out, and now she's telling all the damn business. So we'll end up seeing what happens. I feel like if it gets too messy, they might end up just taking her to court, because it's like, why not? They have the money to do it. Next, I want to brush over this not Chris Brown, Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion situation very, very quickly. Do we have that screenshot of Tory Lanez? Tory Lanez basically wants to be able to talk about the Megan Thee Stallion and his case. So in case you guys didn't know, he allegedly shot Megan Thee Stallion back on, I want to say, August 20th. And since then, Megan Thee Stallion has come out and literally said that he shot her in the foot. Well, he feels like he didn't do it. They feel that they have new evidence, and he wants to be able to come online and defend himself. I guess that there's like a gag in there to where he's not allowed to talk about the case online. So Alisha, do you think that he should be able to come online and talk about this at this point? Because Meg, as you see right here, she's like, sir, you're going to jail. You shot me. And his whole thing is he cannot respond to these types of accusations. But I'm kind of like, you've been mum this whole time. You might as well just wait till court.
You know, he did make a whole album like OJ did, kind of situating that he did it. So I think that was enough talk that he needed to do for it, but that's just my opinion. But I guess if we're being fair, you know, him telling his side would be nice. However, it's over now. Like, I just want them to deal with it in court and leave the public out of it, because it's just too much now. I'm over it.
Same. And I definitely can't wait until we get those, I don't want to say test results, but it's like, let us just know what you guys come up with so we can all move on with this. Right. You have a listen up topic for everybody that is very dear to the city of Seattle right about now.
Yes, listen up is all about me expressing my opinions on the matter. So if you do not know about this Seattle Seahawk player, his name is Chad Wheeler, and he is being charged with felony assault and 3 different charges. He's doing a first-degree domestic violence assault charge, a domestic violence unlawful imprisonment, and resisting arrest. He was arrested last Saturday and actually posted bond, and his arraignment will be February 9th. So the reason why he is in talks is because he attacked his girlfriend by choking her with both hands until she lost consciousness. She woke up for another time, and the girlfriend said that Wheeler allegedly said, "Oh, you still alive?" But then proceeded to say to the police officers when he was arrested, "I don't beat women." No, sir, you don't beat women. You choke them.
Hello.
The doctors have confirmed that there are signs that she was harassed and beaten and choked, and the NFL is not giving me enough of what they need to be giving. They're only saying that they're reviewing the case and that he could be suspended or fined if he's found violating the charges and policies. Chad ended up going on Twitter and pretty much saying that he apologizes. He was having a manic episode, and that he was never going to be playing football again, and that he needs help, and he does not want to pose a threat to anyone ever again. I definitely want to know how people are feeling about this. I definitely want to respect the victim and the girlfriend at this time, so I don't want to go into further detail, but that's just what the public knows as of right now. Again, there's no charges formally filed just of yet, because he will be arraigned on February 9th.
So I want to pose a question to you and the audience about how they're saying he had a mental illness. Here's my thing about this. And here's my thing about this when it comes to African Americans, when we also have mental illnesses. Like, I don't know why they think that we're not allowed to be bipolar, but you know, we have cases here where people have had mental illnesses. They've been manic. a situation has happened where the cops were called and they didn't even make it to the jail, let alone the police car. So for me, for the next day or days later, for them to come out saying, oh, well, he had a mental illness. Did you know that when you got there? Did you know that this man had a mental illness when you heard that woman screaming in the bathroom and you had to break the door down? Like, do they ever know that they have mental illnesses? That's like when people go shooting up churches and all of a sudden the little white kid gets McDonald's and taken to the jail with like all types of protection. And they're like, oh, he has a mental illness. And again, did you know that he had a mental illness when you got there? Right. No, you didn't. You chose to use different forms of dealing with the situation with this guy than you ever have or than you typically do with people of color. So I just find that whole situation interesting. Like, obviously, mental illness is a thing. I just wish that it would work for both sides of the coin. Like, if Black people are having a mental illness moment and we call you, could you not kill us? Thanks.
I just need the NFL to take more responsibility. This is your player. You're paying him. He's liable and he's attached to your brand. If this is how you're going to allow the situation to go, I don't know. I mean, the NFL has let a lot of things slide. So I guess it's too much to ask for him to be penalized. Not saying that mental health is not something that we need to be privy about and making sure that he is okay and gets the help that he needs. However, he does need to face the fact that he almost could have harmed this woman fatally. So it's just a lot. Too much badness is happening in 2021 already. So,
child, it feels like 2020 part 2.
It is. Mm-hmm.
So we are going to go to a quick commercial break and then we are going to start getting ready for our panel. All right, take us out, Carlos. Oh, hey, we're back. So we have one of our panel members here. We're waiting for the other two to join us. But while we wait, I wanted to talk to you guys about why I wanted to kind of do this topic. Like I said earlier, I like to talk about taboo things with my friends. I feel like there are so many topics that we talk about at the kitchen table, if you will. And I feel like it would be nice to have a safe space for people of color to be able to come together and have these taboo-esque conversations. So today's panel is actually going to be on sex work, okay? No, we will not be talking about pimps. No, we will not be talking about sex trafficking. That is not the vibe that we are trying to bring out here at this moment. We got enough drama going on in 2021, okay? This is actually more so going to be about celebrating women and talking about what women actually want, what women think, how we see some of these definitions that have seemingly been changed or are in a way of people's opinion. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I feel like this is what this means. I feel like this is what that means. So for starters, I want to bring up the actual definition of a prostitute. Yeah, we start now. So a prostitute is a person in particular a woman who engages in sexual activity for payment. Then you also have your escort. An escort is someone who is paid for their time, often compared to a prostitute. An escort is not paid to have sex, but is paid for their time. What they do within their time is their business, which could be, in fact, sex. And then lastly, we have the sugar baby, who is a young female or male who is financially pampered and cared for by a sugar daddy or sugar mama in exchange for companionship, i.e., sexual favors. I didn't add that in. That's from Urban Dictionary. Anywho, so I actually picked a couple people that I just felt like have really free spirits. They have opinions on these topics and won't have any type of like judgment feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not a situation where I want to make anyone feel bad. I actually just want to have an open discussion and see what other people think about the topic of, is sex work going to be normalized in 2021? I see that Q is backstage. So let's bring in Q and then we will bring in Teme.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Q.
How are you?
Good. You look comfy.
Girl, thank you. I'm not feeling well, so I apologize, but
I know we talked earlier and you already know I totally appreciate you for still coming up and trooping it out.
absolutely anything for you.
Good.
Thank
Don't
you. How to pull out the fur? You know, we was talking about some money, so I had to bring out the fur.
Right. Let's bring in Teme, Carlos.
Hey,
Hey, babe.
What's up, cute?
How are you, babe?
Good. Introduce me because I have something to say to Q.
Oh, okay. So we have one more panelist. We're waiting for her to come in, but in the meantime, between time, we just gonna have our chit chatter starting up. So we have Teme, as some of you guys know from King County Equity Now. I know her as Twin from when we were on Cutting Up back in the day.
What it do, y'all? My name is Teme. Some people know me as TT May. I'm residing in Seattle, Washington, where I'm from. And I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to have open dialogue and create safe space. But I'm also excited because Seattle doesn't really allow, our culture doesn't allow us to be multifaceted. I think we show up in one particular format and then that's all. Or maybe two. And so I'm just excited just to do some, some new shit, and I just have to say it because when I found out you were on the panel Q, I'm like, I remember this one night, literally the one night we went out in Atlanta. And
did I make the men pay for everything?
But wait, the dude, we walked into the club. These two dudes approached us. You was talking to his homie, I was talking to his homie. I'm a dancer, for those who don't know. So if I go out, if I don't dance, I have attitude. So he's like, I'm trying to take you out. Long story short, we're leaving the club, and you were like, man, we were supposed to go out to dinner or something tonight. I'm like, yeah, homie was trying to take us out to dinner as soon as we walked in the club. You were like, hello, that was the point of the night. I'm like, oh wait, put me on game, because I was my mind was somewhere else, girl. I didn't know that was like one of the requirements for the night. But I will never forget that night. Literally, it was like some type of club that had like a cage in it or something. It was real cute. Like, we went out and you taught me a few finesse things. I said, oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I'm actually really happy that you used the word finesse, because that actually brings us to the first question first question. Can we pull that up, Carlos? Are finesse queens the new age high-end escorts in y'all's opinion?
I don't think so.
Why
not? So from my point of view, the whole point of finesse is getting it with, well, actually, no, because you put the definition of escort and they don't always have sex. So never mind. I was thinking somebody that has sex, because the whole point of finesse is to get it without having sex first. the whole point of finesse is getting as much as you, in my opinion, getting as much as you can before sexual shit is brought up. Even if he's trying to get it, stringing it along as possible and getting as much as you can before it gets there. Like the book Hoe Tactics teaches, how you make him think. Are we allowed to cuss?
You can cuss to the extent of maybe an ASS, but
okay.
Because I said a cuss word and I was like, I don't know if I was supposed to say that. So thanks for saying that.
I was about to get reckless. But in Hoe Tactics, one of the main things is making them think, oh, I'm about to get it. I'm gonna get it. I gotta get her this bag so I can get there, and then you're always one-upping it to the next thing. And I think that's a big part of finesse. But I feel like it's its own thing. I feel like a finesse queen is our Black thing, and it's our own cultural thing. And to put it under the label of escort is to give it to the world. And some things we got to keep for ourselves.
I agree. Teme, do you have any thoughts on that?
I do have thoughts on that. I think this is going to be a common thread throughout the questions. I think there's a difference between doing what you got to do in the dating game to make sure you protect yourself and make sure you're screening people that are worthy of your time, then I'm going out with him just to get dinner. I'm going out with him just to get this. I think there are some, you can be a certain type of finesse queen, right? Maybe you're finessing because
Oh, wait, Teme.
I need to do certain things to screen these men, and at the end of the day, if they get finessed in the process, sounds like he was a dummy. Sounds like he didn't make quota. And so what am I supposed to do about that? And I think because the game is set up where you have to peacock, which is like show up and show out and do the thing. Sorry, I'm lighting Palo Santo. And do the thing, you're liable to get finessed, because if you're showing up acting like you're something like that you're not, and then I find out that you're not, I might have finessed you along the way, because really you finessed yourself. So that's
Can I add something in there too?
1 second before you add something. I want to let everyone know. Hold that thought real quick. I want to bring in Mosaic Mirage, who just popped in, and she is our last panelist.
What's up, y'all? Doing?
Hey, Mosaic. So right now we're talking about finesse queens, and Q was about to answer the end of Teme's question.
Where'd Teme go? The other thing I was going to add to that is finesse is not always just getting something out of a man. Finesse is getting what you want in life, period. So if that's a job, if that's a house, if it's something that somebody told you couldn't get for yourself and you figure out a way to get it, you finesse. So it's not just money or a car or dinner out of a man. It could be a promotion that somebody was like, oh, you'll never get that promotion. I'm about to finesse that promotion. So it's not just financial. A lot of the times the end game ends up being something financial, but it's not always between a man. Sometimes it's something more worldly.
Period. And so, Mosaic, I know you're just joining us, and the question was, are finesse queens the new age escorts?
No.
Thoughts?
Finesse queens are,
run her the definition of escort that we're using first. Did you get that one?
What's the definition that we're using?
Someone who is paid for their time, often compared to a prostitute. An escort is not paid to have sex, but is paid for their time. What they do within their time is their business, which could be, in fact, sex.
Okay, so finesse queens, they're finessing their way to get something that they want, whether that's financial investments or whatever. And usually they're not sleeping with these men. I feel like escorts are there to, I don't know. I feel like finesse queens are the prissy, not the prissy versions, but like the fluffed up versions of quote unquote escorts and hoes and all this extra stuff. So I don't feel like it's a new thing, because sex work is still very real, and real sex workers will not consider a finesse queen a sex worker. Like, I don't consider finesse queens a sex worker.
I think every sex worker should have a little finesse in them, though.
Oh no, they do.
Oh, they definitely do.
There's a difference
It won't work.
Facts.
That's queen. Is
Yeah,
not
I think what this Mosaic is saying is that the prerequisite to being an escort or sex worker is finesse, but that's not the only requirement. Versus finesse can just finesse off of their finesse. Like they're like, I don't really have to have a real resume. I can just show up, look the part, and you believe
Right.
I have a lifelong resume of finessing.
right.
It's part of the finesse.
Yeah.
Now, I like this question that just popped up by Leon. It says, is there a distinction between a business arrangement between two people and just basic dating relations, which could certainly include finessing? And I say this because one of our next questions, I want to say it's, you want to pull up SW08, Carlos? It is, where do the lines of dating and tricking become blurred?
That depends
Because
on
sometimes some people be like, well, I'm paying for everything. I'm paying your rent. I do this. So it's like, okay, are you a living girlfriend? Is this like an arrangement? Like, where do all those lines kind of blur in your opinion? Also, by the way, before you guys start talking, if I mute your mic, know that it's nothing personal. It's just so we don't have feedback.
I think to answer that question, it depends on what coast you're on, because there's a lot of things that Seattle men consider tricking that were just run of the mill when I moved to Atlanta. So I think
Right.
that there's a coastal version of that. Like, when I was back home, somebody taking me to dinner was, they're like, oh, I'm not tricking, I'm not paying for that. My ex-boyfriend bought me a car before I ever slept with him. So I think there's a cultural nature to that question.
So when you say cultural, would you say cultural as in, okay, so like you were saying, if you're from Seattle, you wouldn't do that. But if you're from Atlanta, it's normal for you to do that.
Very normal.
And then it looks like Mosaic, you were agreeing. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I can attest to the Seattle thing. Seattle men out here, they think doing the bare minimum is tricking. It's like, oh, you want me to take you on a date? I ain't no trick. Like that's how they talk. Like their mindset is doing bare minimum. And I feel like the difference between dating and it becoming mutually beneficial is communication and comprehension of what what the mutual agreement is. Like if I'm with the trick, like they're already aware, like this is what we're here for. Like there's nothing else other than you're taking me out, we're having a good time. I'm getting compensated for my escort services, and that's it. Whereas dating, like, okay, I'm paying your bills, we're seeing each other, we're, spending time with each other, we're exclusive, yada, yada, yada. Like that, it's really about communication, comprehension, and what the mutual agreements is within that person and within that relationship.
Teme, what were your thoughts on that?
Hold up. Sorry, I wanted to hear what Q's response to that was, if that's okay. Hold up.
Oh, sorry.
Am I back?
You back.
I was going to say, sometimes it goes the other way. I have multiple escort friends that were retired by their clients. And now that one of my friends just got married, she was retired by her best client and they're married and she lives in a mansion now with him. So sometimes it goes the other way, but he still never lost the, I still got to pay to take care of you vibe.
I know that's right.
Okay. I guess I laugh at first when the question popped up because I was actually talking about this with Damon, my brother, and I think it's very interesting. I follow the sentiments of Mosaic, which is like Seattle men, in my experience, want to do bare minimum, or they're actually afraid of what it looks like to put their assets out there, and maybe because they don't have much to show. And I'm not saying all Seattle men are like that. I'm really not saying this is not a Seattle man bash, but I think that when we talk about culture, kind of like what Q was saying, it's like state culture, city culture, right? Like Tennessee's gonna be different than Georgia, North Carolina's gonna be different than Florida. It's just like it's just gonna be a little different. But the coastal difference is in the South, men have a mindset of like a woman doesn't need to be taken care of, like bare minimum, and the more you look like you take care of themselves and they know, okay, you're a respectable woman who takes care of herself, who cares about herself, who's looking to go somewhere in life, and I need to be the best support in that, because you doing better is us doing better. If I go out and you look good, then you gonna make me look good. You feel me? Versus Seattle men, I just feel like they're like, you should come with the whole package, and then I'll consider if I'm going to invest in this. And it's like, where they do that at? And so I think when you talk about dating, it's really hard. And in Seattle, yes, men will consider you a finesse, or I've been called a tease, all types of stuff, right? Because the insecurity of, do I really have what it takes to date you? And if you were just honest about that, then you wouldn't be considering me a finesse queen. You'd be like, you know what? You have a lifestyle that I am not going to be able to contribute to, and I'm going to move out the way. And so I think this whole conversation is really interesting, because it's really just about communication, like Mosaic said. It's about what are you looking for? And a lot of times what you're looking for is that something you can maintain. It doesn't matter. Sis could be working at the FedEx. Can you maintain sis working at the FedEx? And I know girls in Seattle who have city jobs, who have, what considered 9 to 5 or considered boring jobs, but at the same time, these men still can't contribute. And it's because, do you have what it takes to be with sis? At the end of the day, a lot of times, men undervalue that women inherently are valuable. And sometimes it's on us because we don't present ourselves in our utmost value. I think a lot of times for women, even myself included in the past, not showing up as my full value, so therefore I do a bullshit. But once I step out and I'm like, ooh, I'm that, and I get a whole different caliber of dude immediately, because he's like, that woman actually knows what she wants. So when you're going out on an escort date, we spoke personally, Besa. I've been third party on escort dates, sugar baby dates. I've had very close friends who are sugar babies, and I've never allowed the man take me out on my own, but I've been like, oh, he's like, bring your friend because she's cute, and it's an agreement. This is not a finesse. You want me here? When you mean,
you knew what you was doing.
You want me here. You want to look at me. You probably want you want to cruise the town. You want to hear my laugh. You want to do that, and so therefore that's what we're gonna do. No difference than a guy being like, can I take you to the movies? Am I finesse queen when I show up to the movies and you pay? You just asked me to the movies. Of course I'm gonna come to the. You feel me? So I really think it's a conversation. I don't think men should project their insecurities. I think a lot of times it's a projection when men are like, oh, you just set it up. No, you just can't keep up.
And that's on period. My next question, I'm going to actually ask this to Alisha, because you are real big in social media like me. Do you feel that social media is starting to actually glamorize sex work?
Okay,
Oh,
there we
you're
go.
unmuted.
Yes, I do think they are, because in years before, you would have never seen the level of people doing sex work online publicly as much as you do now. I feel like with things such as OnlyFans, people are starting to be a little bit more lenient to it, even though people have been doing sex work for long periods of time, years. And why all of a sudden is OnlyFans and these little Finstas and Instagram accounts now getting the praise and the glorification when there are regular women that have been doing this before OnlyFans started? So I don't know. It's really weird with the fact that they're doing everything and they're finally starting to accept it now that it's on a platform like OnlyFans.
I think Allison made a good point in terms of saying glamorized or just normalized, because one of the things that I really feel like people are becoming numb to certain things. Like at one point, some people started becoming numb to all of the police killings. Now I'm starting to feel like people are becoming numb to seeing 12-year-olds twerking on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? So is it that that social media is glamorizing the sex work, or is the media trying to normalize it? Because there are a lot of new documentaries out about sex work. There are a lot of new documentaries out there about There are a lot of new documentaries out there about being a sugar baby. And then when you have songs like with Beyonce and she's like, you know, on that demon time, I might start an OnlyFans. And the next thing you know, OnlyFans goes viral because all of these girls are like, oh, I want to jump on. Do you feel like that is social media trying to glamorize sex work? Oh, wait, Mosaic. Okay, boom.
Or
You good?
okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I didn't know if that was gonna go to the next person or it's okay if I talk.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I feel like OnlyFans specifically has been glamorized over sex work because OnlyFans, like I said, it's like the fluffed up version of actual sex work in being a finesse queen, because OnlyFans, you don't have to go out there. You're not meeting up with people. You're not on dates. You're not providing services. You're just popping pussy for the internet. And I feel like that's been glamorized over sex work, and sex work has been monetized in a sense where it's kind of demonized, like on the same token as OnlyFans, like, oh, you do OnlyFans prostitute, where that's not really the case because those are two completely different things, like finesse queen and escorting. So I don't feel like it's been glamorized. I feel like it's just kind of monetized and put real sex workers and escorts to the bottom now.
Now, let me unless somebody else has thoughts on that topic before we move on. Oh, Teme does. 1 second.
I'll make it, and I'll make it quick because I really I just want to echo what Mosaic said. I listen. Okay, what I want to say, I don't want to say too much. I want to say that we are in the age of information, and that we are in the age where internet is accessible to anyone. When we were children, the internet was not accessible to everyone. But guarantee you, sex work was happening on the internet when it first came out. And so I think what we're looking at is just the age of things being trending. Things get like things that meant nothing or that were just a passerby get blown up, you know, like the girl, like, do it for the vine, I ain't gonna do it. Like all she was doing was being goofy, but like she blew up, you feel me? And so it's like I think to a certain degree, that's the same thing we're seeing with OnlyFans. It's like you said, all Beyonce gotta say is lemon, and everybody wants to be, you know, make lemonade every day, like, you know. So it's just like the understanding that the culture has an effect on it, but I really don't think that the culture is normalizing it any more than Hollywood has already. You know what I'm saying? Like we've already been primed subliminally for these type of things. Like, why is Barbie in a two-piece suit when ages 2 to 8 are playing? Like, you know, like why is she not? And I'm not saying that she should be, but what I'm saying is that these things already exist. And so I don't know if it's really normalizing it. I think it's exposure. I think again it's trending. I think it's a click of the button. We can see anything we want. I also do think on the other coin of that, yes, people are being influenced to do it because there's really low to no risk than the sex workers who are actually putting in the time and energy and the money to do it, you know, and be safe and like have an adequate business versus the girls who are like, I'm gonna get, you know, what about Patreon? There's all these other subscribing apps where you can subscribe for service. OnlyFans isn't just for escorts or finessers. It's for anything, honestly. So I think when we look at the framework of what it really is just people are on Instagram all day. People, campaign managers been paid big bucks to know that sex sells. Okay, and guess who's about to get their money? Everybody, and that's why Mary had a little lamb. So I'm not even gonna sit here and act like I didn't contemplate getting on OnlyFans and picking up panties with my toes, because at the end of the day, there's a fetish for everything, right? So it's just like this is who, you know what I'm saying? I don't have no judgment to that. So I'm just like, I personally don't think it's made it normalized. I think people have more access to it, and so therefore it's just in your face now.
These are major facts, and a lot of the times that's really what it is. Like, I think sometimes people just don't know what people are doing in their day-to-day lives. It's like we really take the time to pick and choose what we put online, but I think during this pandemic, everyone's home more, everyone's online more, so maybe people are feeling themselves a little bit more, and they're like, you know what, I don't mind telling my business, or maybe people are trying something new to make some extra money. I mean, let's not act like a lot of people haven't lost jobs right about now. I found a really dope question from Deontay Damper. Show, please. Says, can we talk about the history of sex work in Seattle and how BIPOC women and sex work have been getting killed? And this kind of brings us into my question of, should sex work be legal? Because my thing is, if it was legal, sex workers have like way more rights. They would have more protection. There would be like more regulations, because for the most part, if you call the cops on, say, your chick that's doing something wrong, who's going to go to jail? Potentially both of you.
Yeah, both of you.
So at that point, there's no protection for anyone. And it makes it to where you can be killed. And everyone's just like, meh. There was like, because you know what I mean? Like, she's not going to call the cops. If she gets a client, he beats her up, who is she going to call? What is she going to say happened? So aside from what I just said, why do you guys feel that sex work should be legal? And do you think that any other states aside from Nevada will open up to legal sex work within this year?
Oh, I was waiting to see if anybody talked first.
Go for it, Q.
I think it should be legal for everything you just said, for protection for women. And I think the reason it's not yet legal is because it's an issue that disproportionately affects women. And because we live in patriarchal society, it's not something they're looking to support. But I agree with all the reasons you said are the reasons why it should be legal, because protection. And because there are women who do it by choice. Some women are definitely forced into it, and that's a whole other conversation. But I know plenty of people who do it by choice. And those people who do it by choice should be able to do it in a safe environment.
Exactly. Anyone else have thoughts on that? Hold up. Alisha.
Say that. My question is,
I was saying, when you say they were talking about prostitution specifically, because there's a bunch of stuff under the sex work umbrella that is legal, like stripping or OnlyFans, or there's a bunch of stuff under the umbrella. So you're talking about specifically prostitution, correct?
Yes, this comment right here is specifically talking about prostitution.
Got you.
I guess my question is, will the government, because it's legal, start putting rules and like regulations on it? Like, you can't do certain things and stuff like that. So if the government does legalize it, would sex workers be okay with following those rules and like not having complete control of what they can and can't do, if that makes sense?
I think it would also probably depend on some of the rules.
Right.
You know, like some of these rules can potentially be hindering to some of the sex workers. I was looking at some of the rules for in Nevada, where depending on the ranch that they work on, they're not even allowed to leave for a certain amount of times. Like their cars have to be registered in a certain way. And at that particular point, if your car is registered as an escort and you get pulled over by some sick cop, who's to say that he won't arrest you and rape you just for the heck of it? So I think that definitely depends on what some of the laws are. But somebody made a good point. I don't know where the comment went, but oh, there it is. It says decriminalize rather than legalize. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I agree. And I remember I had that conversation with you. I said sex work should be safe, but not legalized. It should just be safe. There should be different measures taken. Like I know when Backpage got taken down, that was like sex workers' safety net, because there were screenings, there were background checks, there were people like you didn't just meet them, you weren't on the blade, you weren't like, you know, that was their safety net to make sure that they were screening properly and asking the right questions and asking them to send them pictures or their ID or something like that. And now that that's taken down, it's taken a safety net from the escorts in general, period, especially out here in Seattle. So I feel like if it was legalized, then yes, the government would definitely have a hand in the sex work community, and there would be taxes that you have to pay. And like Nevada, you have to register your cars and all that. I don't think that the government needs to legalize it. So because then there's just more hoops to go through. But it definitely should be safer for prostitution.
Now, for those that really don't necessarily know the difference between decriminalizing would just make it to where you're not going to get a federal offense. And then if they legalize it, there would be a whole bunch of rules and regulations behind it, right?
Right. Right.
Boom.
If you get caught, with the trick in a hotel, you're automatically going to jail. So.
What would you say is like the biggest misconception about sex workers that people automatically have?
They're uneducated.
Yeah.
I agree. Because like he was saying, sex workers is not just an escort. It's cam girls, it's strippers, it's a lot of things, you know what I mean? So it's like sometimes you're not even doing exactly what people think that you're doing with your body. I know like a lot of like strippers, like people sometimes assume that they have sex with all of their clients, and a lot of them are like, yo, I come to work, I do my job, and I go on about my day.
Right. I remember when I got into it the first time, I had just a 15-minute conversation, and he paid me my time, that 15 minutes for conversation, $300. That was the first time, and that was in Seattle, and I was like, what? For conversation?
Like, wait a minute.
It was wild, and that changed my fucking life, and that's that was dope to me. It's definitely more than sex. Like escorting is not just sex. And when people find that out, like about me, and I'm open about it, like even on this panel, I'm open about it. I've done it all. I do it all, and I don't have like a 9-to-5 because I have a business and I run that as well. I'm multifaceted, but that along the lines is I do that as well. And people are just like, damn, so you just be fucking all the time? That's not what I do.
It's like, it's not that. Like, it's like, right. I know you watched it in a movie, but it's not that.
Right, it's not. It's nothing like that.
Oh, wait, let me.
What happened in Pretty Woman? Oh, wait, host has unmuted my. Look what happened in Pretty Woman. Did they even? It was majority him spending time with her, him taking her places.
Right.
It was not nearly as sexual as people would think it is.
Right.
He took her out, showed her off. He taught her how to speak the way he wanted her to speak and the places they were going. Like, that was the most non-sexual escort movie ever.
Right. Exactly.
Do you guys think that it will actually be decriminalized at some point this year? I didn't get to find the clip, but there is a clip of Kamala Harris saying that she doesn't believe in criminalizing prostitution. Now, the real question is if she only said that to get extra brownie points, but that is something that she has said.
I don't think it's on the top of their list. I don't think that'll happen this year. I think they have way more on their plate. I don't think that's, and like I said, we live in patriarchy. They're not thinking about what things that exclusively affect women, or a lot of escorts are gay men or trans women. They're not thinking of things that specifically affect communities that aren't, the whole or the status quo. I don't think that would happen. I don't think that'll happen in the next 5 years, but I'm just me.
Now, let me ask you guys this. In general, is there anything that you would say sex workers want aside from decriminalization?
Safety.
Yeah, safety.
Respect.
Safety. Respect. Put some respect on my name.
Yeah.
Right.
And then also, I want to ask this, and this is like a roundabout question, and I want you guys to also answer in the comments. A lot of women sometimes do not like to take money from the men that they date, whether it be for them to buy them something. I've heard of girls not wanting they're like, oh yeah, I don't mind going Dutch on a date. I'm like, where? I will act like I'm going to the bathroom and leave you with the check so quick, and I've done it before. So, my question to you ladies is, do you feel like being potentially labeled as an escort or labeled as a sugar baby in a really bad way is the reason why some women are like, nah, I got it, I can pay my half, I can like do half on all the bills, like I don't need you, I got my own money, rather than letting a man cater to you? Because I've never understood this notion of feeling like, oh, if a man wants to pay my rent, I'm gonna say no. Like, girl, you could have used that money to start a business. Are you crazy?
Girl.
I think that's more of a personal problem than an escort problem. I feel like that's pride within themselves, that somebody told them in their head that no, they have to be a strong person and pay for everything and don't let no man do for you you can do for yourself. That has nothing to do with the sex work.
I think that has to do with how people are socialized. I think it's a cultural thing. I think it's a coastal thing. I remember being like that in Seattle and like feeling like, oh, I have to prove my worth. I have to prove like I can pay for this. And getting down here and having a guy hand me some money to pay for anything, and I try to give him the cash back, and he's like, I mean the change back, and he looks at me like I'm crazy. Like, are you handing me some money? So I think it's like socialization. It's how you're raised. It's cultural. It's coastal. Because that was one of the biggest things I had to unlearn down here is to how to let a man pay for things and understand that that's okay. And you can be independent. You can make your own money. Accepting money from a man does not detract from your independence. Obviously, it helps you be more independent because now you're saving more money for more rainy days.
Exactly. Hold on. I'm going to unmute Teme and then Alisha.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I'll be completely transparent and say I'm a recovering, I can do it all by myself. I did, like, and Mosaic is right, it's a personal thing. I think my personal experience is also a cultural experience, being raised by women who are strong, who didn't either stay married or never were married. And so not really seeing the example of a man generously take care of things on a consistent basis outside of maybe one or two men in my family. And they weren't just taking care of their family, they were taking care of their whole extended family. So it was kind of a different thing. I feel like whenever I moved back to Seattle, because I've moved away a lot, I have to reset my brain because it's like the Seattle fog. I don't know what it is. Like you step off the SeaTac airport and you're like back to old factory settings. And it's because of how people, how they get down here. And I just noticed that, like when I'm in LA, if I'm somewhere else, it's a totally different vibe. It's a totally different, easy breezy, kind of situation. But when I am home, I do feel myself kind of clamming back up into the like, I got it, da 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 da. And then again, it's because a lot of men are like, well, I'm not gonna do this, and I'm not. We hear that a lot in Seattle. I ain't gonna give her this, and I ain't gonna give her that, or that girl's a bum, or that girl this, and she don't got this together, and she ain't got that together, And so it becomes disheartening because it's like, well, if I look at you to pay for the check, then I'm some kind of, I'm the villain in the story, right? And nobody wants to be the villain in the story. And so, girl, what was the question? I'm sorry, I did that a lot. What was the question?
Girl, I done forgot at this point. We're live. Why would I lie?
Me too. I could be lying. Anyways, I just think that it's not wrong to let a man do for you, like you said. I think it's a personal thing to feel like you have to go Dutch or you have to prove it is about proving your worth, and women shouldn't have to prove their worth in a situation. But it's about their environment that teaches them that, yeah, you do have to do that, or the environment that teaches them that, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? So that's my 2 cents on it.
Let me boop-a-doo. Alisha, what do you think?
In DC, I feel like us Black women here, we have very like independent mindsets. Like, let me just do all of this myself. I don't need a man. But I think the way that I'm raised, just like you said, kind of made me internally be like, I don't want a guy to have to pay for nothing. I also just don't like asking people for help. So that's, like someone else said, it's a personal issue. But I just recently started getting to a point where I'm like, okay, let me see how this person cares about me. It kind of shows me that, like, if they're willing to provide for me or help me in certain ways, I'm going to let them do that. However, I do have like a boundary of what I will allow from someone to give me something. Like, I won't let them pay for anything like huge, like thousands of dollars, just because that's me. And I don't, and that's just me because like, I feel like I have to owe you, or like I owe you something, or I have to do something for you. And I'm like, yeah, cute. But
we got to let you come in on that one. She's like, not me. Couldn't be me.
But it's like I'm slowly starting to get better at allowing that to happen. So, a little date, or you want to slide me a few hundo, I'm not gonna be mad, but it's a slow process for me.
pick on me. Well, my only thing I was gonna add to that, if it's their idea to give you whatever thing, no matter if it costs $1 or 10,000, you don't owe them anything. Now, where they got that idea from, if it came from you finessing them, that has nothing to do with them. If they brought it up to give it to you, you don't owe them anything. My ex bought the car I have outside. He bought the car before that. He bought the car before that. I never asked him for a car. He saw I had a Honda, a 99 Honda when I first moved here. He was like, I really don't like that car. And I was like, oh, okay. And I just kind of looked at him and he was like, I'm going to get you a new one. And I had my first luxury car outside the next day. I don't owe him anything. I never said, babe, I need a car. He decided he wanted to do that. So if they come up with the idea on their own, even if you gave them that idea,
it came out of their mouth first.
It came out of their mouth first.
Okay.
You don't owe them shit.
I'm gonna keep that in the bag. I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep that because I'm gonna use it.
Like, have you seen my big fat Greek wedding? Where the mom was like, the man is the head, but the woman is the neck, and she can turn it whatever way she wants to. If you turn that neck, but they thought they turned it.
That's all that matters. That's the 48 Laws of Power moment with a little art of seduction sprinkled up in there one time. I'm here for it. Mosaic, do you have any thoughts before we go to our last question?
I've gotten lost with the answers.
I think Q was basically just responding to Alisha saying that she doesn't always like taking expensive gifts from men just because she feels like that she owes them something.
Oh, I don't mind taking gifts or money. I don't owe anybody anything. If you get it for me, you got it for me. Like if I didn't ask for it, like even if I did ask for something, like I still don't. I don't owe you anything. So yeah, money or whatever.
Exactly. So we're going to go into our last question. And this one actually isn't mine, but I like it. And I like it because it's positive. Nope, that's not where the question was. There it is. Can I ask, how do you all become unapologetically comfortable?
What do you mean by that?
I think it's like unapologetically yourself, like unapologetically confident, like, hey, I'm gonna do me. I don't care who doesn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I realized that it has nothing to do with morals. Everything that I do has nothing to do with morals. It has nothing to do with my worth, how I see myself. If you view me a certain way, that has nothing to do with me. There are hundreds and hundreds of versions of me that are walking all over that I will never meet those versions, and I will never have to live up to those standards that other people place me as, because it just matters what I think of myself. And if I think of myself highly favored and blessed, and I live my life fully and happily and healthy and just enjoy it, then that's how I've done it. That's how I've been able to just be myself, being able to just be free. And that's like the best quality that I have of myself, is just being free and being happy.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Because I know for me, I had to like start meditating and fixing my sacral chakras to get it together, child.
I think for me, like she said, it's just about being happy. What's the thing that makes me happy is being myself, not being fake, not trying to do something or be somebody that I'm not. Mm-hmm. And once I figured that out, and it took years, because, you know, in the land of social media, you want to be like that person, that person, that person. But for me to be internally and externally happy and be okay with who I am, I had to be unapologetically comfortable. And I had to be unapologetically me, because no one else can be me. They can try, but they won't succeed. So,
period.
It's like that one TikTok where it's like, I just want you to know that you the baddest bee. You baddest bee on the block, but not my block. Your block. And it's like, yes, because you got to have that confidence in yourself. And it's like, for me, I've definitely struggled with it over the years, but being stuck at home by myself for the last year, not really leaving the house, and when I really want to shut off the internet, that helps so much in just getting to know me and getting to know like the things that kind of bothered me about myself. Anyone else have anything else they want to say on that question before we end this?
I was saying just learning to love yourself. I went through a really bad breakup a couple years ago, and going through the process of why doesn't he want me anymore, and then realizing, wait, I'm amazing. He's the one missing out, and just reacquainting myself with myself, relearning all the things that are great about me, learning all the things that I need to work on, and then actually working on them. And then once you attain that level of self-love, you're unapologetic about everything.
Mm-hmm.
Any situation that you enter, if it doesn't add to your peace and detracts from your peace in any way, you'll be ready to walk away from it unapologetically. But I think it's a self-love journey.
Absolutely.
Yes, I just echo what you said. I literally, how I found out how to love myself is being not loved by people, by being, bullied, or, all the things, right? That we go through, or some of us go through, and recognizing that, hey, I don't like how this feels. Like, I don't like how people are responding to me. And it's easy to take on other people's script about you, and like then you take it over and you elaborate on it, and now you're further down into a hole. And so really radical self-love is through healing. I read a quote, it was a random Facebook quote, and it was like, I kept pretending I wasn't hurt so I couldn't get to my healing. And that's just really true. Like, to pretend that you don't have hurts, or you don't have insecurities, or you don't have people who try to knock you down, or you don't knock yourself down, will get in the way of the confidence that you actually want. And so when you're like, actually, I don't got it all together, and I go through stuff that's messed up, and I make mistakes, but I'm the baddest bee on the block. Like, that's where you really get your confidence, because you're like, how can I go through all this and still look this good? Like, what? Like, sis, he did what to you? When did he do that?
And you still glowing. So what's up?
Yes.
Or did he have you confused with somebody else?
Yes.
No, I think he had you confused with somebody, because you was acting like somebody else. It's literally like having that conversation with yourself, like, oh, I was acting like something else, and so now let me level up, and it's okay. That was 2.0. That was iPhone 6. I'm iPhone 12. Like, you got to upgrade yourself and give yourself the permission. And for me, I know that this is going to be a lifetime journey, because there's so many things that I still am not comfortable with sharing with other folks, right? But like every year, I'm like, okay, so what's the other thing you're going to do to get yourself out of the comfort zone? So then after you're out that comfort zone, no one can intimidate you with that thing outside the comfort zone. You'd be like, I've been there, done that. Okay, I went there, was scary, girl, but came back, and that's how I had a little lamp. So that's like get my confidence from. I look at the stuff that had me messed up, and look at where I am now, and like, you're still breathing, you still got opportunities in front of you, you're still thriving. So clearly, girl, you're amazing. So
Period.
Move through with that.
I just want to say too, before we end this, that as women, we're in a really fortunate position that we don't have to deal with the confines of toxic masculinity, and we can have these conversations with each other, and we can say, this is what makes me uncomfortable, this is what makes me insecure, and we can work through those things with each other without having to feel like, oh, I'm less of a woman for sharing my insecurities with another woman. So I think this is a beautiful thing, and I'm glad that I'm born in the skin that I'm in, that we can have these conversations.
Right. Me too.
All right. Well, I want to thank you ladies for joining me for not only my first episode of the year, but my first panel that I've ever done on Converge. I'm never really sure what people expect from things when I do them, but here you go. And I think we had a nice, healthy conversation about sex work, and then also just about like dating as a woman, and how sometimes people think those lines can be blurred. And I think it's just really all about communication at the end of the day. Do anybody want to shout out their social medias or any businesses that they do?
To Live Q on Instagram. And my business is Girl Gang Mafia. This is one of my hats. Spelled out Girl Gang Mafia on Instagram as well. I just released some hoodies and some new hats. I have a shirt that says money is my love language. I meant to wear that on this panel, and I forgot it in Atlanta. I'm on a cabin trip. So, but yeah, shop Girl Gang Mafia. Follow 2LiveQ.
Mosaic? Oh.
Hi. Okay. I'm Mosaic Mirage. I am a social media influence. I do spoken word. Pre-COVID, I was performing all over the Pacific Northwest. Now I'm just hosting my own open mics, actually, like on Clubhouse and stuff, and I've gained quite a following doing that. It's pretty dope. I also make hand poured soy wax candles.
They are so bomb, you guys. Ugh, get into them.
Yes, all different kinds. Every month is something different. Like this month is rose quartz, February's, and different crystals are in it every single month. I charge them under the full moon of that month, and then they're ready to go. I also do beard oils, hair, skin oils, waist beads. I have about 13 of them on me. They stay on me all the time, specifically for women of color only. So yeah, that's what I do. Just hit me up on my social media. Everything is Mosaic Mirage. You can Google me. I'm the first thing that pops up. Keep my name together, and that's me. IG, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, OnlyFans, all that.
Period. Alisha.
Well, my social media is Alisha be live everywhere because I stay live or whatever. And I also have a podcast called The Lituation Room where we have discussions just like this and we talk about music. So.
And let me unmute. Teme, unmute yourself.
Hey, my formal name is Teme, but like I said earlier, I go by Teme. I consider myself an eclectic artist, which just simply means I do a little bit of everything. I'm a performing artist. I'm a dancer. I also am a licensed cosmetologist with the focus in natural hair care. I also offer hair oil that I make. You can follow me IG at TTMA, and if you guys can see how it's spelled in the panels, and that's exactly how it's spelled everywhere. I also do readings. I do Akashic Records readings. I'm a Reiki practitioner. I do a little bit of everything. I'm an activist, King County Equity Now. I founded an organization last year called King County Equity Now. It's an amplification organization that focuses on amplifying Black-led organizations that are doing grassroots work. My family is Wanawari Seattle, who's one of the coalition organizations that focus on getting Black people back in the historical Black neighborhoods of Central District. So I kind of do a lot of things everywhere, but you can find everything that I do for the most part on my IG, links to everything that I do on my IG. And yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Well, I want to thank you all for joining me. I want to thank Alisha for being my co-host. I want to thank you ladies for popping up. I am going to get ready and sign out, and thank you all for watching. We will have another panel coming up soon. I want to say in about 2 weeks. If you guys have any topics that you want for me to cover on another panel, definitely hit me up on Instagram at Naybesa. That's Naybesa. And until next time, you guys already know I need you to make sure that you are your own vibe and don't let nobody regulate your vibe because people have been acting up all 2021. So I will talk to you guys later and stay locked to Converge Media. Bye.
I did it for the city. I did it for the love. I did it for the people. I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish. I ain't even broke a sweat, homie. This practice. Pondering my next move. Staring at my track list. Hope I ain't missing my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.